Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. So, here we are again learning some new fun things and reviewing some things that maybe we need to just kind of remember that we did earlier in the year. So, we're going to be still doing our long vowels, reviewing those. You have a sight word review today. So, there's going to be sight words on the page, and you're going to say the sight words so that I can hear you reading them to me. For your science activity, you're going to do a Save the Ocean activity where you have to find the things in the ocean that do not belong. And we know what those things are because we did something similar in our activities last week. Then you're going to be counting by tens and making sure that you remember that when you count by tens, the number always ends with a 0. Tens is pretty easy, right? Then you're going to be doing a sea turtle craft and research activity. So that should be a lot of fun. Sea turtles are really fun to learn about. And it's exciting that we have them come to our beaches to lay eggs. So sometimes when you go to the beach, you might see a sea turtle nest that would be kind of roped off so people don't step on it. And if you are really lucky and you get in contact with one of the sea turtle rescue groups, they can let you know when a sea turtle nest is getting ready to hatch. And then they will sometimes post, like on their Facebook pages, if a turtle nest is hatching, and you could actually go and see it. I've got to do that before, and it was really exciting. So you might want to see if you can do that too. Now whoops, I just dropped my book. Let me grab it. We are going to read a story that is by Eric Carle, and we did a bunch of Eric Carle books when we did our insects. So this is called A House for Hermit Crab, and hermit crabs do live in the ocean, right? And something special about hermit crabs is that they don't have their own shell. They have to go and find shells. So as they grow, they have to get bigger shells so that they will fit inside. So they're different than a sea turtle because a sea turtle already has its shell attached to its body, right? Not a hermit crab. He has to go and find his shell. A house for hermit crab. So you can see here, this is what he looks like outside of the shell, and then he goes and finds a shell to go and live inside. Time to move, said Hermit Crab one day in January. I've grown too big for this little shell. He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean, but it was frightening out in the open sea without a shell to hide in. What if a big fish comes along and attacks me, he thought. I must find a new house soon. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside it to see how it felt. It felt just right. But it looks so plain, thought Hermit Crab. So what could he do if he thinks that his shell looks plain? Could he decorate it? Maybe. Let's see what he's going to do. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. How beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain it needs you. I'll come, whispered a small sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. So he is kind of decorating his shell. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish, moving slowly along the sea floor. How handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? I would, signaled a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. So now he's got two things on his shell. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. "How pretty you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful?" "I would," creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In June, I noticed a pattern. All of these things are happening in the months, right? He started in January, now he's in June. Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They gazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a neat path behind them. "How tidy and hard-working you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house?" "I would," offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. So now he has a snail to keep his shell clean. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. "How fierce you look," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to protect my house?" "I would," answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. So now how many things does he have? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, he's got 5 things that are going to be on his shell. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. "It's so dark here," thought Hermit Crab. "How dim it is," murmured the sea anemone. "How gloomy it is," whispered the starfish. "How murky it is," complained the coral. "I can't see," said the snail. "It's like nighttime," cried the sea urchin. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. "How bright you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to light up our house?" "I would," replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. So lanternfish kind of light up, they have that bioluminescence, right, that we've talked about. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. "How sturdy you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would you mind if I rearranged you?" "Not at all," answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. "Now my house is perfect," cheered Hermit Crab. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another big home. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. "They have been so good to me," thought Hermit Crab. "They are like a family. How can I ever leave them?" So what could he do? What do you think he could do? In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. "I have outgrown my shell," he said. "Would you know of a place for me?" "I have outgrown my house too," answered Hermit Crab. "I must move on. You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends." "I promise," said the little crab. So he's going to pass his shell on to another hermit crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. "Couldn't stay in that little shell forever," said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but sponges, he thought, barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. So he wants to design a new shell that he can carry around with him. So that was a fun story. And I think it might be kind of exciting to be an animal like a hermit crab, that you get to change your house, as he called it, every once in a while as you outgrow it. and get to decorate it with new things. All right, guys, I will see you soon for our 11:30 Zoom call. Bye.